Welcome to another Mr. Khan Maths video. In this video, I will be looking at multiplying whole numbers. The method I will be showing is different in terms of the steps taken to achieving my final answer, but nevertheless, it gives me an additional option of calculating answers to multiplication questions. I will be looking at a method which stems from the Egyptians and is known either as the Russian method or the Russian peasant multiplication. So starting with question 1, 39 times 4. Now I find this way of multiplying interesting as the main aspect of it involves halving and doubling. So if you're confident with that, you are more or less going to reach your final answer without any issues. Now there's no better way to show you this method than doing the question, so let's get started. I'm going to create a grid which will help me order my numbers. Now, this is not required and you don't have to draw a grid. You can simply split the page into two. Now, once you have split your page or created a grid, the left-hand column will be used for halving your numbers and the right-hand column will be used for doubling your numbers. And once labeled, they should look like this. Now, the first set of numbers we will use are 39 and 4. These are taken from the question. The order in which you put your numbers does not matter. So in this case, I will be using 39 and 4 in the order which the question is written. Now, the number in my left-hand column will be halved. So half of 39 is 19.5. And the number in my right-hand column will be doubled. So 4 doubled is equal to 8. Now, when you get a decimal or a remainder, you have to ignore it and work with the whole number. So in this case, 19.5 will be 19. And this only impacts the left-hand column. You will then repeat this until the number 1 is reached in the left-hand column. So half of 19 is 9.5 and double 8 is equal to 16. So once again, we have a decimal which we are going to ignore, and in that case 9.5 will now be 9. I'm going to continue. So half of 9 is 4.5, double 16 is 32. Again, we have the decimal, or as it's known, a remainder, so we are going to ignore it. So 4.5 will now be 4. And we will continue with our question. So half of 4 is 2 and double 32 is equal to 64. Now half of 2 is 1 and double 64 is 128. Once this is done and you have reached the number 1 in your left-hand column, step 1 is complete. This allows us to move on to step 2. Now, we have to look at the left-hand column for any even numbers. If there are any even numbers, the whole row needs to be eliminated. So in this case, we have the number 4, so we will eliminate the whole row as such. We also have the number 2, so we will eliminate this row as such. And now we are ready for our final step. Our final step will involve us adding our remaining numbers in the right-hand column. So these numbers being 4, 8, 16 and 128. So I'm going to use the column addition to add my 4 numbers together. So 128 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4. 8 plus 6 is 14 plus 8 is 22. Plus 4 is 26. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, and I'll bring down the 1. So my final answer for 39 times 4 using the Russian method is giving me 156. Now I'm going to try this method for a different question where we are multiplying a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. So let's get started. I'm going to multiply 42 times 11. I will start by creating a grid which will help me order my numbers Now, this is not required, as I said previously, and you can simply split your page into two. Now, once you have split your page or created a grid, the left-hand column will be used for halving your numbers, and the right-hand column will be used for doubling your numbers, and should look like this. Now, the first set of numbers we will use are going to be taken from the question and can be done in any order. So in this case, I will be using 42 and 11 in the order in which the question is written. Now, the number in my left-hand column will be halved. So 42 divided by 2, or half of 42, is equal to 21. Double 11 is equal to 22. Now I'm going to find the half of 21, which is 10.5. Double 22 is equal to 44. Now the same rule applies from question 1. When you get a decimal or a remainder, you have to ignore it and work with the whole number. So in this case, 10.5 will be 10. So half of 10 is 5, and double 44 is equal to 88. Half of 5 is equal to 2.5, and double 88 is equal to 176. Again, we ignore the decimal, so 2.5 will be 2, and half of 2 is equal to 1, and double 176 is equal to 352. So step 1 is now complete, as we have reached the number 1 in my left-hand column. This allows me to move on to step 2. Now we have to look into our left-hand column and see if we have any even numbers. If there are any even numbers, the whole row needs to be eliminated. So the first even number I can see is the number 42, so I'm going to eliminate that row. The second even number I can see is the number 10, so I'm going to eliminate that row. And the third and final even number I can see is the number 2, so I'm going to eliminate that row. Now my step 2 is complete, and I move on to my final step. Now, in order to get my final answer, I'm going to add the numbers which remain in my right hand column. So these numbers are 22, 88 and 352. So I'm going to use column addition. 352 plus 88 plus 22. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So I'll place my 2 here and carry the 1 over. 5 plus 8 is 13, plus the 2 is 15, plus the 1 is 16. I'll place my 6 here and carry the 1 over. 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. So my final answer using the Russian method to 42 times 11 is 462. So let's see if this method works when multiplying multi-digit numbers. So in this case, I have 337 times 26, a 3-digit number multiplied with a 2-digit number. So as I have done before, I am going to create a grid, or some of you may have split your page into 2, that's fine. Once you have either split your page or created a grid, you will be labeling the columns. So my left-hand column will be used for halving, and my right-hand column will be used for doubling. Now, the first set of numbers I'm going to use are going to be taken from the question. And again, you can write them in any order. So in this case, I'll be using 337 and 26 in the order in which the question has been written. So I'm going to do what my columns are telling me. So my left-hand column, I'm going to half. So half of 337 is 168.5. I'm going to double my right-hand column. So double 26 is equal to 52. As we have seen in the previous 2 examples, when we get a decimal or a remainder, we are going to ignore it. So 168.5 now becomes 168. A half of 168 is 84. Double 52 is equal to 104. Half of 84 is 42. And double 104 is 208. Half of 42 is 21. Double 208 is 416. Half of 21 is 10.5. Double 416 is 832. And again, we have a decimal, so we're going to get rid of it. So my 10.5 will now be 10. Half of 10 is 5. Double 832 is 1,664. Half of 5 is 2.5. Double 1,664 is equal to 3,328. And again, you can see I have a decimal, so my 2.5 will now become a 2. So half of 2 is equal to 1, and double 3,328 is 6,656. Now, when I have reached the number 1 in my left-hand column, I am ready to move on to my step 2. My step 2 will involve me in eliminating any even numbers in my left-hand column. So the first even number I can see is 168, so I'm going to eliminate the whole row. The next even number I can see is 84, so I'm going to eliminate that row. 42 is the next even number I can see, so I'm going to eliminate that row. 10 is the next even number I can see in my left-hand column, so I'm going to eliminate that row. And the fifth and final even number I can see is the number 2, so I'm going to eliminate that row. Once I have eliminated the even numbers from my left-hand column, and I've eliminated the rows, the numbers remaining in my right-hand column are the ones I'm going to add up together to get my final answer. So these numbers being 26, 416, 1,664, and 6,656. So I'm going to use column addition to get my final answer. So 6,656 plus 1,664 plus 416 plus 26. So 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 6 is 22. So I've got my 2 here, and I'll carry over my 2. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 1 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus the 2 is 16. I've got my 6 here, and I carry my 1 over. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus the 1 is 17. I place my 7 here, and carry my 1 over. So 6 plus 1 is 7, plus the 1 is 8. So the final answer for 337 times 26 is 8,762. Now, I would like you to have a go at some questions from Mr. Khan's skills check questions. Have a go at practicing the Russian method and see how you get on. Here are Mr. Khan's skills check questions. So please press pause and have a go at using the Russian method. And once finished, click resume to reveal the answers. Here are the answers to Mr. Khan's skills check questions. Check how you have got on by marking the questions you have done. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye for now and see you again soon.